Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Glenn coming to you live from the wonderful Nashville, Tennessee. And we have with us, of course,
It's Darrell as a service, live from not my home. This is not my office.
this is
Well,
an
it is my office today. This
ah
is my modern workplace today.
modern
Not bad,
workplace
huh?
today. Oh, we should register that. That's a trademark. No one else
Yeah.
out there register that, please.
No, no, no.
So, where are
This
you,
is
Daryl?
this is Mount Maunganui, near Tauranga. I'm down doing some Skype for business bits and pieces
Okay.
for the local council, and I thought that I'd change it up a bit. You've seen the back of my office for enough, and took a nice fresh walk, brisk walk up the hill, and here we go. You've got a nice view, which I do get a little bit of vertigo as I sort of look down. You can see
Well,
the
and that
coast.
yeah, don't do that. Don't fall. That's
No,
that's going to be important for today. That's going to be the lesson that we have is just don't fall and
yep.
hashtag just don't fall. So, you're having an exciting time this week there, and we're in the U.S. We're coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday where we are celebrating our the pilgrims coming over and having a start of this wonderful adventure in the Americas. So anyway, so it was a great time with family and everything. So, but I'm glad to be back with you, Daryl.
Yeah, that's cool. I've been listening to some podcasts about Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
Hmm.
Do you get involved in Black Friday at all? You go
I
out
act
shopping?
so there's Black Friday, which is traditionally it's the Friday right after the U.S.
Mm,
Thanksgiving, and it is traditionally the time when businesses get in the black, meaning they're operating in red all year, but they sell so much this day that they're in the black and they're making money for the rest of the year.
mm,
And then today, which is called Cyber Monday, has been traditionally in the last several years because people come back to work and get on the internet and buy stuff. Now, with
yeah.
so many people having internet at home, that's not really the case anymore. But so that to answer your question, yes, I did. A lot of people get out physically and camp out at you know in front of stores and all this.
Mm,
I don't do that, but I did buy some things online. One little special treat. I bought myself my own Christmas present. So anyway, um, so
mm.
a little fun.
Yeah, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Well, look, you're driving this show
Yes,
this
I
time
am.
because I'm just looking at a mobile phone. So
Yes. So
take it away, man.
yes, sir. We have a great deal to talk about today. Okay. We have two messages, but it still is a great deal to talk about. So the first one is this one. This is we're rolling out new SharePoint Online site branding and navigation features. I like
Mm,
so right off the bat. I I like this message because we have great links to the Office 360, I'm sorry, the Microsoft 365 roadmap, giving us details on what's going on here, and we're getting some cool stuff for SharePoint, right, Daryl? We're getting some nice branding options.
yeah, well, that's been the theme of the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? That there was a lot that was listed within, the Microsoft Ignite talks, and this is what to expect. There was the roadmap, and the good thing about this product group is that they when they order their roadmap. They've got it in such a way that they are going to deliver and they're going to deliver within a good time period. So here we have all this great stuff that's arriving before Christmas
Hmm.
that allows us to build out a more capable intranet, a more capable team site.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this arrive.
So for this one specifically, we talked about several updates last week, right? We had a whole list. So this week this is focusing on the branding and navigation. So for branding, this one is highlighting the new functionality for being able to augment the header, which is the area where the site logo is, and be able to shrink that down and make it the sizes you want it to be. And then the footer, giving you a footer, first of all. You could do that now with doing a solution, but but now we're able to. It's going to be out of the box. It's going to be on the site information to be able to, when you go to change the look where you pick themes, you're going to have an option for header, footer, and the footer being you can make it small, medium, large. So I think that's cool. Being able to bring those things we've been doing already for intranets to our SharePoint Online intranet natively.
Yeah. Well, look, the interesting comments there about there's a theme there about changing the size of the header and the footer, and where real estate, in a sense, is quite valuable on a page. That has been an initial comment about the modern pages as they first came out. We know, like, it's minimum viable product as it comes out, and there's things are working, but over the year or so, they've been bringing it up to parity with previous versions of SharePoint. But there was this great big header, and initially you had no image that you could put there. It's this kind of grey placeholder, and you'd have to scroll partway down to actually see the content. So it's good to hear that the size of the header can be adjusted, and then you can put whatever you want there. That's good.
Yep. And I agree there. The question in the chat room is, has anyone seen these? No. I was checking to make sure that I hadn't seen it. And it's not in my first release in my tenant yet. So it's not targeted to me yet. But
it says targeted release.
Yep.
Organizations at the end of November.
Yep.
And completed worldwide by end of December.
So the what I heard was actually... I'm looking around to make sure no one is listening. What I heard was the start of this is tomorrow, the 27th of November. Okay. So that's kind of what I heard. So definitely be checking out. Now, in our next message, we'll be talking about, we'll mention this, but the concept of, if you have only one tenant for your organization in Office 365, then you don't really have a production tenant, right? You have a development tenant that is being used for production. So you need to have a development tenant that is set to the targeted release for the organization, and then a production tenant where it's not set to targeted release. Maybe you have some people that are targeted in there, but overall. So be checking your, because we all know everyone does what the best practice. So in your targeted release tenant, be looking for that, of course, this week, because this is the end of November, is this week. So.
Yeah. Hey, the other thing about this update, so it's not just headers, is it? There's something else that has been added.
Yep, the mega menu.
I was going to say, wait, say it with me. Mega menu.
Yeah. So this one is something that we have been doing for SharePoint intranets for a very, very long time, right? It's just not been out of the box. This was showcased at Ignite, and really talked about in the last few months, bringing the mega menu to your organization. And I'm showing now, I'm looking at the Microsoft 365 roadmap, but I'm going to click the more information. And this leads us to that wonderful blog post by our friend of the show, Mark Cashman. And so I'm just going to do a search, mega menu.
Really getting that mileage out of that post, right?
That's right. This post has a lot of information in it. And so I'm showing this screenshot of what we're talking about, this mega menu. It's kind of a flyout. It's not a, you like over here, you're hovering over Find It, and it drops down this whole menu system. So this is showing 3 levels. What are your thoughts about mega menus, Darrell? Should I just enable this for all of my sites and be using this for everything, you think?
Well, it's much like lots of things in SharePoint. In fact, sites in general, we go, oh, there's something new, we can use it. We find a use for it. And sometimes it's not really the right thing to use. I wouldn't use this in something like a project site, because this is giving a lot of choices, and maybe you don't have the choices to fill the mega menu, so it's going to look a little silly. I would use it. I would use it at like the intranet level. So where you need to try and provide navigation for a wide range of places across your intranet, potentially to division level two,
Mm-hmm.
we were reading something about how it relates to hub sites. So what did you see there, Dan?
Yeah, so if you read this, this is talking about site and hub site navigation. So being able to, and I haven't played with it, unfortunately. I've seen it been demonstrated, and I don't remember if it was demonstrated at the hub site level, but this is talking about both site and hub navigation. So if you look at the
Mm,
screenshot, we're not looking at hub site navigation, right? We're looking
no.
at the site navigation, and then the hub site navigation would be in between here. Um,
And this is actually an example too of the new smaller header, isn't it? You've
right,
got your
it
header,
is.
and then it's that smaller navigation along the middle.
That is correct.
Mm.
So we're able, I'm liking this. I'm one of those people who really like the smaller header. Um, but so will we have two mega menus? I'm not sure, and I should know this. I'm kind of kicking myself for not knowing it, but being able to, it's talking about showcasing content and sites associated with your hub site. So
Mm.
I'm thinking it is. But anyway, so this is good. I think we've been doing it for a long time, but being able to bring this natively will help solution providers, kind of say, okay, maybe I enhance what Microsoft's doing in the mega menu, or just leave it be, and they've got it handled, and let's move on to something bigger and better. So,
Mm. Mm.
yep,
Yeah, anything that makes it easier for people who don't have deep expertise in coding things up, or maybe just wanting to work completely out of the box.
yep,
Then this is good. All
yep.
right, so we moving on to our second
We are. So,
message.
the second message is all about the JavaScript React framework is updating in SharePoint Online.
All right,
And
I've got this covered. No, wait, I've
great,
got this
great,
covered,
wonderful.
or maybe not. Oh,
Oh,
actually, you know what?
what's that?
Do a refresh because there's something else that's appeared.
Oh,
Maybe we'll go through to the guest expert for this message, and then we could have a quick look at this third one that's just popped up.
oh, great. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I had an opportunity to talk with a an expert in the field, a developer, Sebastian, and we talked about this update and really what it's bringing to SharePoint Online. So let's play that interview now. Hello, everyone. We are here today to talk about the Message Center update, all about the React framework changing. So I'm joined by Sebastian. Hello, Sebastian.
Hello, everyone.
Where are you right now, Sebastian?
So I'm currently in Copenhagen for the European SharePoint conference. So it's starting. Workshops are starting tomorrow. I'm here in my hotel room waiting for the day to start tomorrow.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining me to help us out. You are a developer, yes?
I pretend.
No, the reason I asked Sebastian to interview him is he's one of the best that I know, and I really appreciate you taking a few moments today to fill us in. So this message is all about the JavaScript React framework updating to a new version in SharePoint Online. Can you tell us, what's that all about, and how can we prepare for this change?
Cool. So that's interesting because that's a very techy message in the message center
Mm-hmm.
that basically doesn't tell anyone that doesn't know about that framework or is not a dev. And the interesting thing is usually devs don't get those messages. So that's an interesting message today. Basically, React is the framework that the SharePoint team is using to build all of their interfaces, all of their UI. So everything you see in a SharePoint document library out of a framework called React. So basically, SharePoint team is using that framework to accelerate their development. And they've been forever on the version number 15 that has been tested all over the world, that is really, really good, but there's a new one that was out for the last year or so. That is React 16. That is a lot faster, a lot more performance, has a lot more features, and the SharePoint team wanted to kind of leverage those features in their own components. So they built their own components based on the version 16 of the React framework, and now they're starting to roll those out on the 27th of November. So basically, that's how we are today.
Okay. So how do I inform? I'm not a developer and I'm in an organization. Let's take this from two different parts. One is I'm not a developer. I'm responsible for taking these communications in the message center and educating my users about what's coming, right? So I'm seeing this. What do I need to educate my users, if any, and what do I need to do with my developers, whether that's in-house or third party, that a consulting firm or whatever that has done work for me? What do I need to do on that kind of informing them? And then the second one I was going to ask you is what do developers need to do? So can you help us out? How do we need to do that information, dissemination?
Absolutely. So there's really two. There would be, in a regular case, kind of two different communications. One to the user, one to the devs, internal, external devs that you're using. In that case, I really don't think there's anything to communicate to the users. The user won't see any changes. It's really all under the hood. Basically, it's the same thing as running for more of an admin side of things, it's like Microsoft SharePoint is running updates on their Windows servers. Well, we don't need to communicate that to our users. But our developers might need it because there's new functionality, and that's exactly the case here. So we need to inform our developers that this is now becoming available. So that's why for some of your devs, it might be interesting and important to start leveraging the targeted release, to basically target some people in the organization to test the components on a dev environment or even in your production tenant, to see if the custom components you built might have some issues, challenges, hiccups, or even that are totally breaking apart based on those changes. So right now, none of the out-of-the-box components will break anything. So there's nothing to do here. But then all of the third-party might have an impact. So for us, it's important to kind of target some users. So your devs can run locally their code, but see it running in your production or development tenant, just to make sure that they see if everything goes well. Because if not, all in a sudden, on the 27th of November, it might start to break your tenant, and you might have okay stuff. It might work absolutely okay, or you might have web parts that are totally broken.
Yeah, and so I think it was important there. You mentioned two things that we've talked about on the show before, but is kind of general good guidance for any organization is, number one, to have a test tenant, a dev tenant, where you turn on that first release, right, for the whole thing, and that's where you test things and get it going. And then so that's a first, and then the second would be have your developers as the first release users on your non-first release production tenant, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So do you, I guess the last thing I'll ask about this is really, do you see any do you foresee any major problems have people been using things that that you've noticed have been using that when this update comes, they're going to be impacted? Or is this more of, you need to kind of look at this, maybe there is some tweaks, but maybe it's more of there are features and functionalities you can take advantage of now that are going to be available?
Yeah, so there's I would separate that on two different questions. So first, what was I doing before that I should change to make it work with what it's going to be now, and what are the options now that this React 16 is available? So first one is there's one real use case where it can become a little bit tricky if you're doing what the devs are calling DOM manipulation. So basically, if you're using JavaScript to change elements in the page, which is not the way it should be done in React, the name of the elements, the way the code will be structured, the way the HTML will be laid out in your pages will change with React 16. So if you were expecting a certain structure of HTML, that might change. So your changes that you're shipping for your customer, that might change also, and that may break. Or not have the expected behavior. So first thing to do, stop doing any dumb manipulation. That's going to help a lot in your migration to React 16. Now what are our new options? One that could be interesting is to leverage the newest version of Fabric React. Fabric React is what we call the design language. Everything that looks like Office 365 in the UI is built out of what we call Office UI Fabric, and this should not change. So please do not update to the version 6, even though it supports React 16. The SharePoint team didn't make it to support React 16 yet. So please keep to the version that you are, especially anything 5.131.0, which is the preferred version. Please keep all your components to use that. So that's really, I'm talking to devs right now, so they will get this. And the last thing is there's a bunch of new options that are available outside of the Office UI Fabric, which I highly recommend to see the documentation of React to kind of understand what's available. But there's cool new goodies that are available in the React 16.
Okay, awesome. Well, I really do appreciate you joining us today to talk about this message. It is all of those words that came out of your mouth. I understood most of them, but I really do think this is an important one, and this is one of those that it does have a big impact. It could have a big impact, especially what you're talking about, the DOM manipulation. So it could. So I can see why it's in the message center, but it really is interesting that it is a kind of a developer focused one that we're seeing in the message center. So anyway, thank you very much, Sebastian. I appreciate you taking time out of the European SharePoint conference to join us today. Thank you so much, man.
Welcome. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye. So that was fantastic. We, again, appreciate Sebastian for joining us because he did a great job of explaining how, this really does impact your solutions and how you need to be, and I mentioned it earlier about how you should have one tenant that is the targeted release, and that's where your developers should be testing this, and they should get this first and say, okay, how does this affect the solutions we've developed? But then also have them as the targeted users maybe in your production tenant so that they see it live as to what's going on when that does roll out to them. So again, thank you so much, Sebastian, for jumping on with us and doing that interview with me earlier last night.
Yeah.
So Darrell, while we were doing that interview, showing the interview, we had a couple of messages just come into the message center. So can we roll through them?
Yeah, exactly. I've never actually had that happen where I have the mobile app open, so we'll just hold that up close. I don't know if you can do the full screen of me. Right, so that it just literally was right there when we were just starting to introduce the interview with Sebastian. So that's pretty cool that it is happening. Right, so this update, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to talk the plan maintenance, Skype for Business. That is, we've seen these multiple times. Here it's targeted, and it's showing for November 30th. So be aware of that and know that it's coming. It is for me, and it may be for you as well. So just wanted to ping that. And then
targeted maintenance is coming.
That's right. And then,
for you.
And then the next one that we wanted to cover is this dynamic membership support in Microsoft Teams. So, Darrell, what is this all about?
Well, we've had discussions around dynamic membership for a little while now. That's something we can do on-prem, and we can add people to various different security groups. It's going to rain soon. We added them to various different security groups automatically based on the attributes within their Active Directory record. So in the online space, we can do this also with Office 365 groups. Now, it does require an Azure AD Premium P1 license to make that happen. And the idea is that based on, let's say, your department or your location, you can be added to an Office 365 group, which then gives you collaborative capabilities. And so relating this to Microsoft Teams, it's now dynamic membership is supported with Teams. And just going through to that more information, it talks about creating 3 scenarios where a Microsoft team can be made or support dynamic membership. One is if you've got a existing Office 365 group and you make it into a Microsoft team. 2, if you create a new group, create a new team. And 3, you can also apply dynamic membership to an existing team. So that covers the 3 scenarios. But I think what I found interesting was, as you read about it, there is a change in the behavior of the Microsoft Teams client, or even if you're in the web browser. It sounds like the Teams client will no longer allow you to manage members of your team. Can you picture that, Dan?
Yeah, so what you're saying is if you set this to dynamic, then you're relying on those rules to run your membership of your team.
You can't have both.
Right. Yeah. So that's, and there's some examples here. I like this one in the middle. The university wants to all faculty within a particular college, right? So they may, in Azure Active Directory, they may have maybe their location or their office or something is a particular college or something. Then you could say all of those people, and if they're faculty, then they're going to go in. Okay. But you can't ad hoc add people in there, right? So if you want to add the deans of all the other colleges, not just that particular college in that university, but all the deans of the other colleges in as well, just to kind of see what's going on, you can't do that. Apparently, right? That's actually
a good use case, because that can happen where you've got this team and you go, oh, can you add me to it? I just want to be there as a bystander and checking it out. No, you've actually got to have the attribute added to your Active Directory record.
Yeah, and I've seen this happen with organizations for like IT sites or project sites. Sorry, you have a project team. And you then want allow, you can define it by, oh, this is only an IT initiative. Okay, you put IT in there, but then somebody from HR has to be joined because they're part of the project, or marketing or something. And it's like, well, we got to add them individually. You're not going to be able to do that with this. Stuff like that. One thing that it does is the owners are not defined by rules. So you could add those people in as owners, but then you're giving them a lot more power than just, I want them to be part of the team.
Well, that other question we had too was, how does this affect guest membership? Right. If you don't have the member controls now within the team client, how do you add a guest? And can guests be part of a team with dynamic membership? So we were wondering if it's now, you can preempt it by going into your Azure AD, adding that guest user, and then adding the correct attribute to make them part of that team. Yeah. So let's just put it out there. It isn't really explained in the article. Maybe we do need to do a bit of research. But if you do know, any of you Azure AD and identity buffs, boffins, then just definitely let us know.
Well, there's some conversations going on about this that, office groups have had dynamic membership for a long time, but Teams didn't support that. But now we're getting that. And I think one point that was brought up, I think by Phil, is what I just said about the exceptions. This can be used, I think, to a great extent, and would could be powerful for your organization to organize your teams in an effective manner. But there's always going to be exceptions, not always, but there's going to quite frequently be exceptions, and so this doesn't handle those exceptions well. So
we do need to have both as well.
Yep.
Greedy, so awesome. Greedy.
Okay, so that was it. thank you so much
Not
for
bad,
joining
huh?
us. And I want to say the view behind you is amazing right now. Don't step backwards, but oh, look at that, beautiful, so beautiful. I
Yeah,
wish
yeah,
that
it
was my
is.
workplace today. Thank you everyone for joining us today for episode 73 of the Mr. Cinder Show. Thank you, Darrell, for joining us from afar on top
All
of
right.
the mountain. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye for now.